It's your chance to be ruthless.
Hey kid, don't ever let them get inside your head. They'll tell you what to do in life instead of everything you know that you could get. Don't let them guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best. So treat the worst of times just like a test. If only I could go back in time, I'd tell myself that everything will end up alright. Just push yourself, test yourself, figure out what you like, and find your limits, don't be...
All right, so, tech, YouTube's been a thing you've been kind of curious about, right? Specifically, the world of unboxing videos. Well, you've come to the right place. We're going deep on Sarah Grace.
Yeah.
She's not just any YouTuber.
No.
She's got a community of over 3 million subscribers.
That's right, yeah.
And that's kind of what's got you intrigued, right?
Yeah.
How did she get there? What's the secret sauce?
Right, that's the million-dollar question, and luckily we've got a stack of sources here to help us unpack that. And it's not just about what she does right.
Right.
It's about why it works.
Exactly. So first things first, who is Sarah Grace?
Right.
2023, she's already a household name in tech. But let's rewind back to 2016. She's just starting out. Fueled by this lifelong passion for gadgets, the desire to share that with the world.
It's fascinating because 2016 was a very different YouTube landscape. Unboxing videos were gaining traction, but the tech scene was dominated by big review channels. Lots of jargon, almost intimidating for the average viewer.
And here comes Sarah Grace breaking down this complex tech into something approachable and fun.
Yeah.
Imagine being that friend everyone turns to for advice before buying a new phone or a laptop.
Right.
That's the vibe she brings to her videos.
Yeah, it's that inherent relatability that forms the foundation of her success.
Right.
People can sense her genuine enthusiasm.
Right.
And it makes them feel like they're part of the discovery process, not just being lectured to.
But enthusiasm alone doesn't get you 3 million subscribers. Her unboxing videos are meticulous, almost like a ritual.
Yeah.
She does her research beforehand, so when she opens that box, you're getting genuine first impressions, not just scripted talking points.
It's like she's inviting you to experience the unboxing alongside her. And what's smart is she balances that initial excitement with a deeper dive into the tech specs, but in a way that both techies and casual viewers can appreciate.
This is where her meticulous process shines. You mentioned research, but it's more than just reading a spec sheet. It's about understanding the context of that product, its place in the market, what problems it solves for the user.
And that resonates with viewers. They're not just getting a product overview. They're getting insights into whether this gadget fits their needs, their lifestyle.
Right.
It's subtly persuasive without feeling like a sales pitch.
Now, you can't talk about Sarah Grace without mentioning that video, the $7 a phone one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, come on, who wouldn't click on that? It went viral and suddenly everyone knew her name.
It's a masterclass in understanding what makes things go viral.
Right.
Sure, there's the shock value, that disbelief of, did that really happen? But there's a deeper psychological layer at play, too.
Oh, I'm all ears. Lay it on me.
It taps into our primal instincts, the thrill of the hunt, the satisfaction of finding a bargain.
Right.
Think about it. Everyone loves a good deal. And this video took that to the extreme. It was like watching someone win the lottery of tech deals.
And you can't discount the schadenfreude element. There's that tiny part of us that enjoys seeing big companies make these mistakes. And this video played right into that. Like, hey, even Apple messes up sometimes and you could benefit from it.
Exactly. And Sarah Grace capitalized on that momentum brilliantly. She didn't just ride the wave of that one viral hit.
Right.
She followed it up with collaborations, tapping into other creators' audiences, always kept her finger on the pulse of what was trending.
It's a lesson in adaptability and strategic thinking.
Yeah.
You've got to have that foundation of great content, but you also need to be savvy about leveraging trends, building relationships, making sure you're part of the larger conversation.
It's almost like surfing, right?
Yeah.
You need to know how to ride the waves, but you also need to know where they're going to break.
Right.
And Sarah Grace has mastered that art.
All right, so we've covered who Sarah Grace is, her approach to unboxing, and how she rode that viral wave to greater success. But let's not forget, it's 2023 now. How has she maintained relevance in an ever-changing tech landscape? What's kept those millions of subscribers engaged?
Well, that's where things get really interesting. It's one thing to capture attention, it's another to keep it. Yeah. And this is where her strategic use of different locations and filming styles comes into play.
Oh, you're right. We haven't touched on that yet.
Yeah.
Her studio setup for those detailed reviews gives this very professional tech lab feel.
Right.
But then she switches it up for vlogs and challenges, using more everyday locations.
It's about visual storytelling and creating different moods for different types of content.
Right.
The controlled studio setting builds trust and authority when she's diving deep into the tech specs.
Right.
But for those more personal vlogs, she needs a space that feels relatable, like inviting us into her world.
It's almost like she's using the environment to subconsciously signal to the viewer, hey, depending on what we're talking about today, I'm either your expert guide or your tech-savvy friend.
Precisely. And that versatility is key to her longevity. It keeps her content fresh, keeps the audience guessing, and avoids that feeling of everything blending together. Remember, we're bombarded with content these days. You have to stand out to stay relevant.
Speaking of standing out, Sarah Grace is constantly praised for building this strong sense of community among her viewers. It's more than just a buzzword with her, right? What's she doing differently?
Well, this is where her deep understanding of the YouTube platform shines through. It's about creating a feedback loop. She's not just broadcasting at her audience. She's actively engaging with them. And that's vital, especially in 2023, when viewers have more choices than ever before.
So how does that translate into action? Give me some specifics. Is it just responding to a few comments?
It's much more than that. She's running contests, doing Q&A sessions, hosting live streams where she interacts with viewers in real time. She even has a dedicated Discord server where her most passionate fans can connect and discuss tech beyond the YouTube comment section.
Wow, that's impressive. It's like she's created this multi-layered ecosystem for engagement.
Right.
Giving viewers these different avenues to connect based on their level of interest.
And that's smart. Not everyone wants to join a Discord server, but maybe they feel comfortable leaving a comment or participating in a poll. She's catering to different levels of involvement, making everyone feel welcome in her community.
It really highlights how she's evolved her approach to community building over time.
Exactly. And it brings us to that central question we've been circling. Why does she do all of this? What's the driving force behind Sarah Grace's dedication to creating content and fostering this community?
We've got a whole stack of sources here, and it's clear her passion for tech is at the core.
Yeah.
But I think there's something deeper at play, something that resonates with her viewers on a more human level.
That's the part we'll unpack next. It's about more than just tech specs and unboxing rituals. It's about understanding what makes Sarah Grace tick, what drives her creative spirit, and how that translates into a connection with millions of people around the world.
All right, so we've established that Sarah Grace isn't just good at this whole YouTube thing. She's great at it.
Right.
But what keeps her going, we've talked about the viral hits, the strategic collaborations, the community building.
Yeah.
What's the fuel in her tank?
It's a question that gets to the heart of what it means to be a creator in the digital age.
Right.
And from the interviews and articles we've got here, it's clear that Sarah Grace thrives on that feedback loop with her audience.
You mentioned it earlier, the idea that she's not just broadcasting, she's actually engaging in this two-way conversation.
Right.
But what's interesting to me is she's been doing this for years now.
Yeah.
How does she avoid burnout? How does she keep that passion alive?
That's the million-dollar question for any creator, isn't it?
Right.
The sources suggest it's a combination of factors.
Okay.
Firstly, she's genuinely passionate about technology.
Right.
This isn't just a job for her. It's something she'd be doing anyway, even without the cameras.
It's like that saying, find a job you love and you'll never work a day in your life. It sounds cliche, but in Sarah Grace's case, it seems to ring true.
Absolutely. But passion alone isn't enough.
Right.
What's impressive is her ability to stay ahead of the curve.
Okay.
The tech world moves fast, and she's constantly adapting, learning new things, experimenting with new formats and technologies.
I noticed that too. She doesn't shy away from complex topics.
Yeah.
Remember that deep dive she did on cryptocurrency mining? It could have been a snooze fest, but she made it accessible and even funny at times.
That's a great example of her skill as a communicator.
Right.
She takes complex information and breaks it down in a way that's both informative and engaging. And that's a valuable skill no matter what field you're in, wouldn't you say?
Absolutely, especially these days when we're bombarded with information from all sides.
Right.
Being able to cut through the noise and explain things clearly is a superpower.
It really is, and it's something that sets Sarah Grace apart from many other creators in the tech space.
Right.
She's not afraid to get into the nitty-gritty details, but she always does it in a way that's relatable and even entertaining.
Okay, so we've got passion, we've got adaptability, we've got communication skills.
Right.
But there's another layer to her success that I find fascinating.
Yeah.
Her ability to build genuine connections with her viewers.
Yeah.
It's like they're not just fans, they're part of a community.
And that sense of community is carefully cultivated.
Right.
She's responsive to comments. She interacts with her viewers on social media. She even hosts meetups and events where they can connect in person.
You know, it's interesting to contrast her approach with some of the more mass-produced tech content out there.
Yeah.
A lot of channels focus on pumping out as many videos as possible, chasing views and algorithms.
Right.
But Sarah Grace seems to prioritize quality over quantity.
That's a key distinction, and it ties into a point we discussed earlier.
Right.
The importance of authenticity.
Right.
Viewers can sense when a creator is genuinely invested in their community and when they're just going through the motions.
It's like the difference between a friend who genuinely cares about you and someone who's just using you for their own benefit. People can spot that a mile away.
Exactly, and I think that's one of the secrets to Sarah Grace's longevity.
Right.
She's built a loyal following because her viewers trust her. They know she's not just trying to sell them something. She's genuinely interested in sharing her knowledge and passion for technology.
And that trust translates into engagement.
Yeah.
People are more likely to watch her videos, comment, share, and participate in her community because they feel like they're part of something special.
It's a reminder that in a world that's increasingly digital and often impersonal, human connection is still the most powerful currency.
So true. And that brings us back to that question of why.
Right.
Why does Sarah Grace keep creating? Why does she put so much effort into fostering this community?
Based on what we've seen in these sources, it seems to boil down to a few key things. A love of technology, a desire to share that passion with others, and a genuine belief in the power of community.
It sounds simple, but it's actually quite profound in a way. Sarah Grace is redefining what it means to be successful in the digital age. It's not just about views and subscribers, it's about building something meaningful, something that makes a positive impact on people's lives.
And that's something we can all learn from, regardless of whether we're creating YouTube videos, building businesses, or just trying to live more fulfilling lives.
Right.
It's about finding something you're passionate about, sharing it with the world, and connecting with others in a way that's authentic and meaningful.
I love that. But let's get back to the tech side of things for a moment.
Okay.
We've talked about Sarah Grace's approach to content, but we haven't really touched on the tools and techniques she uses.
Right.
Does she have a secret weapon? Is there some special software or editing trick that's giving her an edge?
That's a great question.
Yeah.
And one that I think a lot of aspiring creators would be curious about.
Right.
From the sources we have, there's no mention of any secret sauce when it comes to software editing.
So it's not like she's found some magic button that automatically makes her videos go viral?
Not exactly, but what she does have is a keen understanding of how the YouTube algorithm works. She knows how to optimize her titles, descriptions, and tags to make sure her videos are seen by the right audience.
So it's more about strategy than secret hacks.
Exactly. And that's something anyone can learn.
Right.
There are tons of resources available online that teach you how to optimize your YouTube content for search and discovery.
That's good news for anyone who's feeling intimidated by the technical side of things.
Right.
It's not about having the fanciest equipment or the most expensive software. It's about understanding the platform and using it to your advantage.
Precisely. And that's something Sarah Grace has clearly mastered.
Right.
She's not just creating great content. She's making sure that content gets seen by the people who will appreciate it most.
It's a reminder that success on YouTube, or any platform for that matter, is about more than just creating good stuff.
Yeah.
It's about understanding the rules of the game and playing strategically.
And it's about being adaptable.
Okay.
The algorithms change, the trends shift, the audience evolves. You have to be willing to constantly learn, experiment, and adjust your approach if you want to stay ahead of the curve.
Speaking of staying ahead of the curve, Sarah Grace has recently started experimenting with new formats like short-form videos on platforms like TikTok and Instagram Reels.
Oh, yeah.
It seems like she's always looking for new ways to reach her audience.
That's a smart move. The attention spans of viewers are shrinking, and these short-form video platforms are exploding in popularity.
Right.
By diversifying her content, she's ensuring that she stays relevant and reaches a wider audience.
It's a lesson in not being afraid to experiment and try new things.
Yeah.
Even when you've achieved a certain level of success, you can't afford to rest on your laurels.
Right.
You have to keep innovating and evolving if you want to stay ahead of the game.
Absolutely. And it's also a smart business decision.
Okay.
By expanding to new platforms, she's not putting all her eggs in one basket.
Right.
If something happens to YouTube or if her audience starts migrating to other platforms, she'll be ready.
It's like having a diversified investment portfolio. Right.
You want to spread your risk and make sure you're not overly reliant on any single asset.
Exactly. And that's a principle that applies to any career or creative pursuit.
Right.
The more diverse your skill set and the more platforms you're active on, the more resilient you'll be in the face of change.
So we've talked about Sarah Grace's passion, her adaptability, her communication skills, her community building, and her strategic use of the YouTube platform.
Yeah.
It's an impressive combination, and it's clear why she's achieved such remarkable success.
Right.
But there's one question we haven't addressed yet.
Okay.
What's the long-term vision? Where does Sarah Grace see herself in 5, 10, or even 20 years? Does she plan to stay on YouTube forever, or does she have other aspirations?
That's a fascinating question, and one that I think is on the minds of many of her fans.
Right.
And while we don't have a crystal ball, we can glean some insights from the sources we have.
Okay, so what clues do we have? Did she hint at any future plans in any of her interviews? There's no mention of any concrete plans to leave YouTube, but there are hints that she's interested in expanding her reach beyond the platform.
Okay.
She's talked about writing a book, launching her own line of tech products, and even getting involved in venture capital to support other tech startups.
Wow, that's ambitious. It sounds like she's not content with just being a YouTube star. She wants to build a multifaceted empire.
And that's a trend we're seeing more and more among successful creators.
Right.
They're not limiting themselves to a single platform or a single revenue stream.
Right.
They're building brands, launching businesses, and diversifying their income.
It makes sense. The internet has created so many opportunities for creators to monetize their passions and build successful careers, and Sarah Grace seems to be at the forefront of that movement.
She's definitely someone to watch.
Right.
She's a trailblazer in the tech space, and I'm excited to see what she does next. But beyond her individual journey, I think there's a larger conversation to be had about the future of tech YouTube and the role of creators in shaping that landscape.
That's a great point. We've focused on Sarah Grace's story, but she's just one piece of a much larger puzzle.
Right.
What trends are emerging? What challenges do creators face? And what does the future hold for this rapidly evolving industry?
Those are questions we'll explore in the final part of our deep dive.
Okay.
We'll take a step back and look at the bigger picture, analyzing the forces that are shaping the tech YouTube landscape, and speculating on what the future holds for creators like Sarah Grace and the millions of viewers who tune into their content.
All right, so we've spent some time really kind of dissecting Sarah Grace's journey, her approach to content creation, and that incredible knack for fostering community.
Right.
It's pretty clear she's cracked the code for success on YouTube, but what about the bigger picture?
Yeah, that's the question we're tackling now, right? We've zoomed in on one creator's story.
Right.
But what about the entire ecosystem of tech YouTube? What's the state of the industry in 2023?
Exactly, because let's be honest, the tech world's constantly evolving and YouTube along with it.
Yeah.
What worked 5 years ago might not fly today. Right.
What trends are we seeing? What challenges are these tech YouTubers facing?
Well, one of the most obvious trends is the rise of short-form video content.
Right.
We talked about Sarah Grace experimenting with TikTok and Reels.
Right.
And that's not just a random whim
Right.
platforms. Like, those are capturing a huge chunk of viewer attention, especially among younger demographics.
It's almost like the battle for eyeballs is getting even more intense.
Yeah.
YouTubers can't just rely on those 10-minute plus deep dives anymore.
Right.
They need to be creating content that's snackable, attention-grabbing,
Yeah.
and tailored for different platforms.
It's a challenge, for sure.
Yeah.
Imagine being a creator who's built a following on long-form, detailed reviews.
Right.
And now you're having to adapt to this world where people have the attention span of a goldfish.
It's almost like having to learn a new language.
Yeah.
A new way of communicating.
Right.
And it's not just about the length of the video, it's the style, the editing, the pacing.
Yeah.
Everything has to be optimized for that quick hit of dopamine. And that ties into another major challenge,
Yeah.
algorithm anxiety.
Oh, yeah.
The YouTube algorithm is notoriously complex and constantly changing.
Right.
Creators are in a constant battle to understand how to please the algorithm gods and get their content seen.
It's like playing a game where the rules are constantly changing and you don't even know what the rules are half the time.
Right.
It can be incredibly frustrating for creators, especially those who are just starting out.
And it leads to a lot of burnout and disillusionment.
Right.
Imagine pouring your heart and soul into creating a video,
Yeah.
only to have it get buried in the depths of the algorithm.
Right.
It's enough to make anyone want to throw in the towel.
But it's not all doom and gloom, right? I mean, there are still plenty of creators who are thriving on YouTube.
Oh, yeah.
And the platform itself is constantly evolving to meet the needs of both creators and viewers.
Absolutely. YouTube is still the king of online video, and they're not going anywhere anytime soon.
Right.
They're constantly rolling out new features like shorts, live shopping, and even paid subscriptions to help creators monetize their content and build closer relationships with their audiences.
It's like they're trying to create an entire ecosystem for creators,
Yeah.
giving them all the tools they need to succeed. And that's pretty exciting, especially for those who are passionate about using video to share their knowledge, their creativity, their stories with the world.
And let's not forget about the viewers.
Right.
YouTube has become a go-to source for information, entertainment, and education for billions of people around the world.
It's true.
It's a global phenomenon, and the impact it's having on our culture is undeniable.
We've talked about Sarah Grace's community, but she's just one example of the countless communities that have sprung up around YouTube channels.
Wow.
People are forming bonds over shared interests, learning new skills, even starting businesses together, all thanks to this platform.
It's a testament to the power of human connection, even in a digital world, and it's something that traditional media could never replicate.
Okay, so we've talked about the challenges, the opportunities, the evolution of the platform itself, but what about the ethics of it all?
Yeah. There's been a lot of discussion lately about influencer, marketing, sponsored content, and the responsibility of creators to be transparent with their audiences.
It's a complex issue and one that's constantly evolving.
Right.
As creators gain more influence and reach, the lines between entertainment information and advertising become increasingly blurred.
Right.
And it's important for both creators and viewers to be aware of those ethical considerations.
Transparency is key, right?
Absolutely.
Viewers deserve to know when a creator is being paid to promote a product or service.
Right.
And creators need to be mindful of the potential impact their content can have on their audiences.
Exactly. It's about building trust and maintaining authenticity.
Right.
If a creator starts pushing products they don't actually believe in, or if they're not upfront about their sponsorships, it can damage their credibility and alienate their audience.
And it goes beyond just disclosing sponsorships.
Yeah.
It's about being responsible with your platform, being mindful of the messages you're sending.
Right.
And avoiding harmful stereotypes or misinformation. Absolutely. Creators have a responsibility to use their influence for good.
Right.
And that includes being thoughtful about the content they create and the values they promote.
So where do we go from here? What does the future hold for tech YouTube? Is it all about chasing algorithms, creating shorter and shorter videos, constantly adapting to new platforms?
It's hard to say for sure, but one thing is certain. The landscape will continue to evolve at a rapid pace.
Right.
New platforms will emerge, new technologies will disrupt the status quo, and viewer expectations will continue to shift.
But amidst all that change, I think there's one constant that will always be relevant: the power of genuine human connection.
I agree. As long as creators are passionate about their content, authentic in their interactions, and committed to building meaningful communities,
Right.
they will find an audience regardless of the platform or the algorithm.
And that brings us back to Sarah Grace.
Yeah.
She's proven that success on YouTube and beyond is about more than just technical skills or marketing savvy.
Right.
It's about building something real, something that resonates with people on a deeper level.
And that's a lesson we can all take to heart, whether we're aspiring YouTubers, entrepreneurs, or just individuals trying to navigate this increasingly digital world.
Right.
It's about finding your passion, sharing it with the world, and connecting with others in a way that's authentic and meaningful.
Beautifully said. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I want to leave you with this thought. The future of tech YouTube, and indeed the future of online content creation, is less about chasing trends and more about cultivating genuine human connection. It's about building communities, sharing knowledge, and using our platforms to make a positive impact on the world. Thanks for joining us on this deep dive. Until next time, keep exploring, keep creating, and keep connecting.
If you loved this deep dive, make sure to hit like and subscribe for more behind-the-scenes stories of your favorite influencers. Drop a comment below who should we cover next. Stay curious, and see you next time.
Guide your life towards regret. I'll fight for what I love with every breath. My past is filled with things I won't forget. I use them all to push me to my best.